so I think that, even for me being in animal welfare for 30 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
every step in the evolution, working in the zoo world, what I initially thought was going to be a dream job, then I got to see how most of the animals live behind the scenes, in concrete and steel night
Yeah.
houses. What the public sees with the zoo is, we call it the other side of the zoo.
Right.
And they don't live out on those beautiful enclosures all the time. The majority of the animal collections are locked up overnight in animal night houses. And that's just the business of zoos. When you get to the sanctuary world, generally where you see those animals, whether it be a big cat or a
Mm-hmm.
primate or any other animal at a sanctuary, accredited sanctuary, especially GFAS,
Mm-hmm.
that's their life. They're protected there for the rest of their lives. And
Right.
it's kind of ironic. I just one of my colleagues, who I consider just the go-to animal legal expert in the country, Kernan Nasser Garcia,
Yeah. Just
just
spoke to her.
tweeted today that, yeah, the Columbus Zoo just took in 3 mountain lions rescued from the wildfires out in California.
Oh.
Didn't make any comment, but what struck me
Hmm.
is just multifold. Is that it brought me back to when Mike and I were first researching for the conservation game.
Yeah.
We were following Jack, and Jack was out west, and he had 2 mountain lion cubs that had been rescued from a wildfire in Montana.
Hmm.
And so Jack is just taking these cats all over all the TV shows, morning, night, local appearances, and then they took them to the Columbus Zoo,
Mm-hmm.
placed them there for a while, and I decided to track them down. Their names were Lewis and Clark,
Yeah.
after the explorers, and tracked them down years later. And Columbus Zoo had rid themselves of them and dumped them out to a place. And while it is USDA licensed,
Mm.
it's not accredited by anybody
Right.
out west. So here, the Columbus Zoo makes themselves look good by
Sure.
taking in 3 mountain lions, which I think is an altruistic thing.
Yeah.
But then, how long are they going to be there? Are they going to do the same thing they did with Lewis and Clark?
Right. Yeah. It's all a publicity stunt. It's just PR for them so that people who see the 10 o'clock news and see that story. And be like, oh well, I'm going to go to the story and to the zoo and check them out now. But you're right. You don't know how long they last at zoos, and it seems like the zoos are part of the problem as far as the animal trade world. And why aren't they taking a step or a note from like the sanctuaries, for example, that you've been working with, or some of the sanctuaries that I've been working with?
Yeah, so working for both types of organizations, what we came to learn in the zoological world is that even the best zoos, if you're going to go to a zoo and we can't talk you out of it,
Yeah.
go to an AZA accredited zoo. My belief still is that zoos are not the problem, they're just not the solution.
Mm.
Captive collections are not the solution.
No.
My issues with zoos are that they promote their whole and project their whole image of being about conservation in the wild.
Yeah.
And when I started doing research and looking through their 990s to look at how much of the money, that the revenue they're taking in, is actually donated in support of actual conservation in the wild, there's not been a peer-reviewed,
Mm-hmm.
unbiased study, but the closest numbers we can figure out are probably between 2 and 5% of total revenue might get donated to actual, in situ conservation efforts in the wild. And I have a problem with zoos not being transparent. I mean, if you're gonna be a business, and tell the public that, listen, like you look at some of these 990s for the big zoos, including Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
they have bottom lines where they have assets of over $100 million.
Wow.
Yet they're only donating 2 to 5% of the revenue in support of actual conservation in the wild. So when we just saw recently the San Francisco Zoo, I believe it was,
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles or San Francisco, they have a 20-year plan now. They want to become more competitive with SeaWorld and the amusement parks.
Mm.
So they've got a 20-year plan that's going to cost $660 million to make it more competitive with amusement parks. And thing like I'm not opposed to a business growing,
Sure.
but why not have a more conservative? Why not put 300 million toward that? Put 300 million toward actual conservation in the wild. Don't walk the line. Do what you say your business
Sure.
is all about. If you do that, I wouldn't have as much a problem with zoos. But so what we found in the zoological world is there's 2 distinct sides. There's the animal caretaking side,
Yeah.
and those people are just like us. And when we didn't work in the operation side, and I worked for both sides,
Mm-hmm.
There's also the animal caretaking and operation side. The animal caretakers, just like you and I,
Right.
it's animals first, and these people would give their lives and do give their
Sure.
lives for these animals.
Sure.
But the operation side is all about profit.
Money.
So it's all about the dollar. And if these heads start butting together, the dollar against the animal, the operations, the business side almost always wins. And
Right.
that's where the compromise of animal welfare and human safety occur.
Right. Right. No, you're absolutely right. And I know of an organization here in LA who's been fighting to get Billy the elephant from the LA Zoo out of there because there's a sanctuary willing to take him up in Northern California. I believe it's Paws Sanctuary. And you could tell this elephant already has psychological problems. I mean, they're not meant to be walking on cement in circles their entire lives. So, and I believe one of the reasons why they don't give it up is because of the money they're making out of it.
Well, elephants are a big business. We came to find out.
Yeah.
At our local zoo in Tampa, I was there when we actually paired together with the San Diego Zoo at the time. And because we didn't have an elephant in Tampa, she left decades ago. And so they actually partnered together with San Diego Zoo, went over to Swaziland and paid the king of Swaziland a bunch of money and brought back 11 elephants from the wild. I mean, robbed them from the herds in the wild. In the PR release was they were going to be culled because there's not enough territory. They'd have to cull them,
of course,
which is nonsense.
Sure.
But it was elephants are big business. They're the gate. They bring people to the gate through the turnstiles.
Right.
So yeah, and they're breeding them. Ours wouldn't breed, so they actually brought some experts in from Germany and had ours artificially inseminated. And she became pregnant. These elephants are loaned between zoos all over the country to breed or to attempt to breed. It's all about. And if you look at the longevity of elephants in captivity in AZA accredited zoos, it's death after that. You can't. What it's proven to me is you can't sustain this genetic population in captivity. I mean, these magnificent creatures need to roam hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. Whether it's a concrete pad or even a dirt pad that's only a half acre, these animals don't do well in captivity. And I go back to take a step back further. None of these animals belong in captivity.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah. No, I completely agree. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think so. What we learned is it's the business of zoos. It's about making. Animals are part of it, but number one priority is making money.